I'm going to show you how to do a circlet crown braid, which is the most practical everyday hairstyle that I know. So the more common version of a circle crown braid is when you braid it as one long length and then pin that around your head. And if that works for you, great. For me, that doesn't stay up very well. Whereas if it's French braided in place around your head, then it stays on great and can actually last 2 or 3 days. Okay. So first, I'm going to part a deep side part. Okay. And then I'm going to divide it in half. Braiding your hair behind your head isn't very easy, but if you divide it in half, you can kind of do a cheat and get around that. Okay, so start over here, divide it into 3 sections. Okay, that's more even. And then you're gonna Dutch braid, which means that you bring the new strands under rather than over. And then you're gonna add hair to the front section. Front as in close to your face or your neck, as opposed to close to the crown of your head. So we're gonna scoop up some hair and add that there. And when you're adding sections of hair, you want to make sure you're going kind of far back, like a diagonal along your head. Because if you have loose parts on the back of your head that aren't being taken into the braid, they're gonna look weird at the end. So just make sure you're going fairly far back. Okay, and when you finish with one side, you're just gonna take it and bring it over to the other side. And we're gonna start braiding over on this side. And we're just gonna kind of skip the back part and it's just gonna line up fine. It works out fine in the end, so. We're still adding hair to the outermost section. And often the very first stitch when you swap over is a little bit wonky, but it doesn't stand out, it's fine, don't worry about it. Okay, now as you come up this side, you're gonna want to tilt your head so that your free hair is hanging down, and that will allow the sections to lie much more evenly. It's really important to make sure that you're taking sections far enough back and not just the very edge, but like pie-shaped wedges going to the center of your head. And then you're just gonna braid them down. And if they're not even, you can just move hair around to make them even. So at some point, hair pieces are gonna start sticking out. My hair is not even layered, and if it is, your hair is layered, it'll do that even more. But even if it's not layered, the way that it's been taken around your head, the hair over here that came in over here, because it's gone all the way around, that there's extra length that's been used up, and it's gonna run out faster than the hair I just added to it. So bits will stick out, it's fine, don't worry about it, it won't be an issue in the end, just keep going. So I use these spiral hairpins. They're by Goody, not sponsored, but the one time that I bought off-brand spiral hairpins, they were really rough around the edges, and you need them to be smooth, so just be careful which ones you buy. So we're gonna take the braid and going to wrap it around the head. So when you get over here on this side here, you're going to lift up your braid because it's only attached on one side, because you only added hair on one side, you can. So you're gonna lift it up and poke it underneath, and you're gonna take the spirals and pin it in place. And then you're going to take the rest of it and keep tucking it in. And yeah. This part here is kind of, it's what it wraps around, it's not attached to your head. So you just want to make sure you're attaching that well. And that's it. It stays up really well. You can sleep in it. One of the best things I like about this hairstyle is that you can wear it for 2 days easy, 3 days if you're pushing it. Just unpin it at night and repin it in the morning. I've gotten compliments on it on the 2nd day. I may or may not on the 3rd day, I can't quite remember. The other good thing about this is you can tie stuff around it really easily because the braid creates this really good like rim around the edge. So hair scarves have never stayed on me very well. Bandana is nothing. I think my head is just kind of a slippery skull shape or something. But with this, I can tie stuff around the edge and it stays on really well. You can do a bandana, you can tie a silk scarf over your hair at night to protect it. If you fall while you're skateboarding, hurt your elbow, and your elbow is really swollen for several days afterwards and you can't move it really, so then you can't braid your hair, this is the best hairstyle to be wearing at the time of the accident, speaking from experience. And after 3 or 4 days when it's starting to look pretty frizzy, you can tie a scarf around it and it will stay on really well and no one will be able to tell how frizzy it is. One more option for this hairstyle is, instead of using the spiral pins, you can use a narrow scarf or a length of ribbon, and you can use that to tie it in place instead. So just want to put it through the center. Through the center, and then you will just wrap it around and take off the spiral pins. And then you're going to do what I think in sewing would be called a whip stitch, which is just around both the braid that's braided to your head, and then also the tail that's wrapped in there. So you want both of those to be contained and wrapped in place by the scarf. And the good thing about this method is that you can wear it for 2-3 days without having to repin it in the morning, because the spiral pins, like if you're lying on your side at night, they're not so comfy, so you want to take the pins out then, whereas this is soft, so you can wear this at night, no problem. And then in the morning you're just ready to go. And then you're just going to want to tie the ends to a little bow. There you go. And that stays up really well too. The other great thing about this hairstyle is that you can fit it under a hat. That's a lot of hair fit underneath a hat, and because it's distributed all around your head, it's not all in one spot, so you don't have the issues of trying to put a bun underneath a hat. This is my dad's hat, and it is a larger hat size than I would wear without this, but it is still a way I can wear all my hair up and wear a hat over it. And yeah, those are several of the reasons that this is a really great, practical, everyday hairstyle. It stays up and lasts really well. You don't have to deal with, this braid does not fray along the length of it the way that a down braid would in my experience. It's comfortable, you can wear it for days on end, you can fit it under a hat, you can fit it under a scarf, it stays up really well, and it's just a really practical everyday option. That's all.